Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a quick look on the Kramer Baretta Special. Okay guys, this is the Kramer Baretta Special in Candy Blue. It's an entry-level guitar, very inexpensive, and they must be pretty popular because they always seem to be out of stock everywhere. I did a couple modifications to mine, and it actually turned out to be a heck of a guitar. Okay gang, so right off the bat I want to say, when you're dealing with one of these entry-level guitars, inexpensive guitars like this, I would imagine that the quality might kind of drift here and there. So your mileage may vary if you get one of these. On mine, this is the one I've got right now. I'm thinking about possibly getting another one because of how happy I am with this, and I'll explain why. But right off the bat, it's got a very comfortable neck on it, maple neck, maple fretboard, and the fret ends, I mean, believe it or not, are perfect on this. There's no sprout. They're rounded really nicely. They're finished real nicely, and the fret leveling was really good too. Didn't have to level the frets on anything. Now I did have to dress the frets. And what I mean by that, when you first got it and you would bend, they were real gritty. The tops of the frets didn't seem to be really dressed at all. But that's an easy fix. Like I said, the frets were level and the fret ends were great. So those are the two most important things. Just polishing the frets, if they're a little gritty, super easy. I did that. I usually do that on all guitars anyway, but this one definitely needed it because they were really, it was gritty up here and, up here. But, like I said, other than that, the frets were fantastic. Okay, so like I said, I did make, a few modifications to this one. I put hip shot locking tuners on this. I definitely think you probably are going to want to upgrade the tuners. The tuners that come with it I don't think are that great. But you probably don't have to do that, but I would recommend it to be in your list of upgrades in the future. One thing I definitely think you should upgrade is I put a black tusk nut on here. The plastic nut that comes stock isn't that great, and what's nice about the black tusk nut, or any tusk nut, is it's kind of like self-lubricating. So on the headstock, like on the hockey stick headstock where the strings really spread out, I think, a self-lubricating nut, can really help you keep it in tune. Now, I personally wouldn't use a hockey stick headstock guitar like this with that kind of spread. I wouldn't use a tremolo unless it was, a Floyd Rose locking tremolo. So I recommend just, putting this bridge right up against the body, making it like a hardtail, which is, what I did. With either a tusk, type nut, or if you keep, the stock plastic nut on there, as long as you keep it lubricated, you should be fine for, keeping the guitar in tune. Another thing I did that's probably not necessary, but I happen to have these block saddles from a Charvel guitar that I had upgraded. So I went ahead and put these on here. I don't think there's probably that much of a difference between these saddles and the saddles that come stock. I would imagine that the metal material of these Charvel saddles is probably a little higher quality metal. And like I said, I already had these saddles, in my parts box, so I went ahead and threw them on there. I wouldn't probably spend money on new saddles for this guitar, but if you have some higher quality saddles, on hand that you don't have to buy, go ahead and throw them on there. And then the other thing that I did was I replaced the volume pot with a Mojo Tone vintage taper. And because what I found on the stock pot, it was, when you had it all the way up, you rolled down, it was the same, it was the same, it was the same, and then it was off. There was like no real, volume decrease, it didn't seem like. The Mojo Tone vintage taper pot, very, very good pot, by the way, but it does definitely do, a nice, gradual volume decrease. So, and that's a super easy upgrade you can do. The vintage taper pot, I think, is like $6. So, maybe look at doing that as well. Now the stock humbucker, it's an Alnico 5 magnet humbucker, and like some people have said, and I didn't really believe them until I got my own, but this pickup for hard rock, metal, or whatever is fantastic. I was really shocked at how good this pickup is. I pretty much assumed that I would be throwing, some new upgrade humbucker in there, maybe even like an EMG to kind of go down that 80s route. But I'll probably keep this humbucker in there for at least for a little while because it really, really sounds good. Now looking at the back guitar, it's pretty normal fare here. Just a normal heel like you'd find on any kind of Fender Strat. One thing that is kind of nice is even though there's just one volume pot in here, they do give you a nice size route there. Excuse me. So you can put some upgrades in there if you want. I don't know what you might want to do. Maybe throw a tone pot in there, or I don't know, a kill switch or something, but there's definitely room in there to do some other stuff. The jack is a barrel type jack, and it is directly on the bottom, like the original Kramer's are. It's not like run aside. Some people don't like the barrel jacks. I've never really had any problems with them personally, so I can't really speak to that. But I know some people don't like them. Some people don't care. You can count me in the camp. As long as the jack works, I don't really care what kind it is. Now, like I was saying, the neck, super comfortable neck. It's not like Ibanez Wizard thin. It's a thinner neck, but not super thin. Just kind of feels like a normal run-of-the-mill C-shaped neck, really. But I really can't stress enough how good these frets were. The fret edges, they're level, which on a lot of cheap guitars, the fretwork is really lacking. They're hardly ever this nice on the edges. A lot of times they're not even level. So if you don't know how to level frets, you have to take to somebody, and that can get a little pricey. But like I said, these frets are level. Hopefully all these guitars come out of the factory like that. Like I said, this is the only one that I've had and that I've played. So I'm just hoping that they're all this good. Like I said, all I had to do was polish the frets a little bit, which is super simple, and ended up with a very nice playing guitar. I dig the color. And it's just a cool guitar that, I could take to band practice or something, and, if it gets a ding or if I drop it or something, oh well, I'm hardly out anything. These are about the cheapest guitar that you can buy right now. And like I said, with a few upgrades, guitar plays and sounds great. Okay, so we'll do some sound samples for you. We'll do the same riff that we always do. And I'll start off on the Morgan AC20 profile. Okay guys, so there's an older version of this guitar, same, basic setup. They come in white and black, but they have a rosewood fretboard. The mod, or the new, the current, iteration of these comes in this candy blue. I think there's like a ruby red, and then there's a cool purple color, which, kind of looks like Grimace from McDonald's. I mean, it's like that purple. And I could possibly see me adding one of those purple ones to my collection and doing the same, same modifications that I did to this one on that one, just to have, another one of these. Because like I said, they are so inexpensive. And I would be interested to see if I did buy a purple one, if it was the same quality, as far as the neck and everything goes. Really, guys, blown away by the quality of this guitar for being such an inexpensive, entry-level guitar. The finish, this candy blue finish is really flawless. There's nothing wrong with the finish. And, just about a perfect guitar for, modifications and upgrades if you're into that, this kind of guitar, this, the super strat kind of shred guitar. So possibly even maybe get a purple one and maybe throw a Floyd Rose on it even. That idea is kind of kicking around the back of my head. So guys, other than these sometimes, kind of being hard to track down, they seem to be out of stock a lot of places. As of the making of this video, this candy blue seems to be out of stock just about everywhere I've looked. The purple was in stock at Sweetwater, I think, and Musician's Friend. The ruby red, I think, was available at Musician's Friend, but not Sweetwater. And like I said, everywhere I've looked online, the candy blue, right now is out of stock. I think the candy blue is probably the coolest color. The ruby red is more kind of like a coral red, or, it's kind of hard to judge. But, and then, like I said, the purple, you really have to be going for that kind of wild, look for the purple guitar, but I dig it. So guys, I want to thank you for watching, tuning in, and checking out the quick look of the Kramer Baretta Special. We'll see you next time.